Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Andrea and I really like books. I'm gonna be doing my wrap up today for the month of July and a birthday book haul because my birth month is July, and so I thought let's buy ourselves some books. We will start with the wrap up. I decided to combine these because I only read 5 books this month, which is not a lot, but it's okay because I have been busy with school and stuff. So let's just start. The first book I read was The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I actually read this 2 to 3 years ago, but I only ever reached part 1. And the only scene I remember from this was the tunnel scene. I put it down because it was all just letters and I was like, I'm not really vibing or enjoying this. I gave it a 3.5. I thought that it was okay. I liked the ending and all. It made me feel things, the ending, but the journey, it was alright. At times I would get really annoyed with everything and everyone and all the events happening. But it was a good book, I guess. A good coming of age book. Basically, if you don't know what this is about, but I'm sure you do, I'm gonna give a really bad synopsis because I suck at synopses. So this book is about a boy, a teenager named Charlie, and he's a freshman, and he just goes through life. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's a wallflower. Title, Wallflower. Yes, he doesn't know what he's doing, and we just follow him and his struggles, everything he's going through, how he navigates life in general. Yes, it's a good read. I don't know, 3.5 out of 5. The next book I got was also a coming of age-ish book, but I enjoyed this much more, and that's Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I actually have this quote on my wall. It says, "Hello, I hope someone is listening." I enjoy this a lot more than Perks, or 0.5 stars more than Perks of Being a Wallflower. Okay, so in this book we follow 2 main characters, Francis and Aled. Francis is an overachiever and everyone thinks she's boring and all that stuff. But she also is obsessed with this podcast called University, and she draws fan art for that podcast. And Aled is the creator of that podcast. One day, Francis gets chosen to draw art for the podcast, and yes, they become friends without knowing each other's secrets. And yeah, I read it at the right time in my life because our main characters don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they want to be. They're just going through the motions, basically. And that's me. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I want to be doing. And I just related very much, especially to Francis. Francis was a very relatable character in terms of academics and likes in life. So I really enjoyed this. 4 out of 5 stars. So the next book I read was After Dark by Haruki Murakami, and I really enjoyed this. I think this is my second favorite book of the month. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. There was something missing with this book. I'm not sure what, but there was something missing, which is why I couldn't give it the 5 stars. Maybe if I go back and read it, I'll enjoy it more. But that's kind of hard because I already really enjoyed this. I really like Murakami's writing style and dialogue and characters. They're also fun. I will try to give a synopsis of this book. It might not be good. There's no plot line, but at the same time there is. There's no end goal to the story, basically. So we follow a cast of characters. Semi-large, a medium cast of characters. And at first they all seem not related, but their stories intertwine. Yeah, it was fun. Characters so fun to follow. Dialogue was so engaging. I flew through this book, honestly. I would recommend. Okay, so the second to the last book I read was Mary Ventura and the Ninth Kingdom by Sylvia Plath. This was like a 30-page, 40-page book. I gave it a 3 stars just because when I read, I try, like, what makes it good for me is when I become emotionally attached to the characters, and you can't really get emotionally attached to a 40-page short story that isn't really character driven. What this story is about is there's this girl who gets on a train to the Ninth Kingdom. She doesn't know where the heck that is or what the heck that is, but her parents make her get on it. And so she does, and as the train ride like goes further and further, it gets more ominous and she starts panicking. And yes, it's a commentary. It was good. Like, I got the message. It did what it came to do. So the last book I read was by far my favorite, and it's The Story of a New Name by Elena Ferrante. I have a vlog, and that was supposed to be a daily vlog, but it turned into a reading vlog because I was just talking about this book constantly because it was so good. I'm not gonna like really gush anymore too much because that's all I did in my last vlog. But this is the second book to the Neapolitan Quartet. Basically, we follow 2 girls, Elena and Lila. We follow the story in the eyes of Elena as they grow up from the young age of like 4 to adulthood, basically to like 60s. And we follow them grow up in the poor city, I think it's a city, of Naples, where they're very exposed to violence and hardships, and education is a privilege, and it's not like a welcome privilege per se. Like, people value working more and stuff like that because they have to support themselves somehow. And we follow like a very toxic friendship, but at the same time it's very realistic, and it was like just so good. We see how the environment plays, not environment like trees and stuff, but like the poverty and the violence, we see how it affects their relationship, and it's so good. We follow a huge cast of characters, and yes, 5 out of 5 stars. Favorite read of the month for sure. Writing was incredible, and it's amazing because this is in Italian, so I'm guessing it's even better in Italian because you get to like really immerse yourself in the language. But the translation was also super good. The translation was done by Anne Goldstein, so very good, so good. I loved it. Also, the translation for After Dark was by J. Rubin, and the translation was also great because, like I said a while ago, I really liked the dialogue and the writing style, and it came across in English. So okay, so now we move on to the haul. I actually bought this in 2 sets. By 2 sets, I mean like I bought online and in store. I bought them like in groups of 4. So 4, got 8 books in total. Let's start with the book that actually prompted me to get on my laptop and buy books. Those Who Leave and Those Who Stay by Elena Ferrante, 3rd book of the Neapolitan Quartet. So good. I mean, I haven't read it, but the 2nd book was like, wow, okay, I need the next book like right now. So next, I got Death in Her Hands by Ottessa Mosfegh, and she wrote My Year of Rest and Relaxation. I really enjoyed the writing style and how nothing happens in that book, but it stayed with me and I was very engaged. I think I finished it within 24 hours. I'm not really sure. I bought this because it is about a woman, an old woman, who finds a note in the woods. I think it's the woods. Yeah, in the woods. And it says, her name was Magda. Nobody will ever know who killed her. It wasn't me. Here is her dead body. And basically, she gets very invested in this murder. I bought this mostly because they said that the narrator was very unreliable, and I have a thing for unreliable narrators. I think they're just the most fun to read from. The 3rd book I got was Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga. I will not attempt to read the last name. She's from Poland. I'm assuming she's Polish. And I actually read this already. I will not be giving my thoughts until next month's wrap up. But basically, it's also about a murder. And we follow an elderly woman as well, and it also has an unreliable narrator. So we follow our main character, Yanina. She very much likes animals and astrology. Like, she's known to prefer animals over humans, and people think of her as weird, eccentric, quirky, for lack of a better term. Actually, that is the best term. She's quirky, and not in the sense that's overused in TikTok or whatever. She's actually quirky. Yeah, that's the best way I can describe her. And one day she finds her neighbor dead. And there are animal hooves, or lots of animals around this said neighbor. And she starts thinking to herself, hey, maybe it's the animals taking revenge, because the victim is actually a poacher. And so this book goes into like what the difference of a poacher and a hunter really is, and who gets the right to take a life or stuff like that. It won the Nobel Prize. So yes, that was Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead. Lastly, we have a book that I wanted to buy previously when there was a sale, but there was none anymore. And that's Milke by Melissa Broder. I heard good things about the Pisces, especially from one of the booktubers that I really like, and her name's Paperback James. So I think everyone knows her. She really liked the Pisces, but I couldn't find the Pisces, and so I was like, I'll settle for Milke. I don't really know how to give a good synopsis of this, so I'll just read the back. Broder tells a tale of appetites, physical hunger, sexual desire, spiritual longing, and the ways that we, as humans, try to compartmentalize these often interdependent instincts. That's the topic range of this book. I'll also read like the first sentence of the synopsis of this story, because I also don't know really. Rachel is 24, a lapsed Jew who has made calorie restriction her religion. I think that's enough to give you everything you need to know. I'll leave the Goodreads link to all of these books down below, because I know I'm not giving a substantial synopsis or any substantial information, comprehensive information, so I'll just let the website tell you. So next are the books I got in store, and I'm very excited about these books. They were so fun to look at and to choose for, although kind of stressful, because when you're surrounded by 3 floors of books, you're very overwhelmed. I got one nonfiction. I was surprised actually, because I only own, if I do own nonfiction, they're memoirs, but this is like a nonfiction. I got How to Read Like a Professor by Thomas C. Foster. I don't think I need to give you a synopsis or an explanation to what this book is about. I want to be able to read actively and not just passively, if I'm using the right term. Next, I'm not sure actually if this is a full-fledged memoir or how much of this is real and how much is fictional, but I got Slow Days, Fast Company by Eve Babitz. This is a compilation of essays and short stories of her life in LA and the cultural scene and all that jazz. I know that it's very good. Like, the hype on Bookstagram is insane, and I've only seen praises for it, and I'm very, very excited to read it. It's also quite short, so that's good. I also got Nevermind by Edward St. Aubin. Like the previous books, I'm not really sure how to give a synopsis on this, because we just follow our main character, Patrick, who is 5 years old, and he has a very vivid, very wild imagination, and he has to deal with his alcoholic, not sure if alcoholic is the right term to use, but from the synopsis, I'm assuming alcoholic mother and cruel father. And one day they expect guests for dinner, but there are events that happen that changes Patrick's world. So I don't know what that event is, and that's why I'm reading. It's a 4-part series, I think. Okay, last book. The book I'm most excited for, The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Brandon Sanderson is an amazing author. I've read Mistborn by him, and that's the only series I've actually read from him, but Mistborn is like one of my favorites ever. This is going to be a 10-part series in 2 blocks, 2 chunks, so 5. I'm very excited. This is the first book. It's a weapon. It's a weapon to behold. I wanted a trade paperback version, but that was way too expensive. This is like less than half the price. So I got the mass market. I'm actually currently reading it. I just finished part 1 and it's so good. I'm really enjoying it. Brandon Sanderson has a way with creating worlds and making it so vivid that you feel like you're in the world. Characters, very compelling, very engaging. But this is not a book review yet. So I will try to give a synopsis, but I don't know how to because I'm reading it and I don't even know what this is about. And I'm already done with part 1. There was this group, a consecrated order named Knights Radiant before. They are nowhere to be found, nowhere to be seen anymore, but their weapons have remained, and these weapons are known as the shard blades and shard blades. They are extremely strong, and there are wars being fought to like claim these items. There's one war going on right now, and that's the war we're in, but we're not really in the war at the moment. From what I am reading so far, it's just how the war affects other people. And the last sentence is, one of them may redeem us, one of them will destroy us. Does it not sound interesting? Honestly, just put Brandon Sanderson's name on anything and I will buy it. So yeah, that's the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed, and I want to talk to someone about books, so comment what you're reading. I don't know, if you want to comment, you don't have to comment, but if you're reading something and you want to share it, I am very much looking forward to it. Okay, that's my video. Bye-bye. See you next time.
Word I'm saying, do you? Oh, sure, of course I believe you. Great. Just repeat the words I'm about to say, all right? Moon, prism, power, makeup.